Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Upkick MMA, episode 361. I am Brendan. All right. For those of you guys who have watched this channel before, you know I usually do fight breakdowns, that kind of thing. So this video is going to be a little bit different. Before we get into stuff, if you do like fight breakdowns, I cover the UFC, Bellator, one championship, all that stuff. Subscribe to the channel. That way the next video is coming out. It helps me out, and I really appreciate it. That being said, this is going to be totally different. All right, this is going to be something I've been thinking about doing for the past 6 months, and I just never got around to it. Part of it was I wanted to write basically what I've taken away from 6 months of doing jiu-jitsu. Okay, so I wanted to do that, but then lots of other things started coming up in my life. It's not like I didn't have time; I did, but it also just didn't feel like there was much that I felt worthy of writing down that you wouldn't experience in the first 2 months or anything like that. And then I wanted to give myself some more time. And the past couple weeks have kind of dead zone. Not a lot of no UFC events, not a lot of MMA going on. So I figured now's a good time. So it's been about a year for me. So it has now turned into the biggest takeaways, the 5 biggest takeaways after doing about a year of jiu-jitsu. So if you guys don't know me, I don't know how much of this, I've put out there on this channel, but if you know me personally, you know this all about me, so you could probably skip to the next section. I'll put timestamps down below to each thing, so that way if you want to skip to a specific thing, you can go to that. So first thing, I played sports in high school just like a lot of people did. I played tennis and football. I wasn't really good at either, but I was generally athletic, which allowed me to, be good at most things without being the best at anything. And I also didn't try as hard as I probably should have. Right? I started lifting weights when I was like 14. So in high school, never really stopped for the past 20 years. All right. So I never really took a lot of time off of lifting. I've competed in a couple different things, but never, nothing serious. I fell in love with the sport of MMA when I was about 19, but I just never pulled the trigger on practicing it. Right. Then I never trained for it seriously. I never did anything. Led me to my life where it is now. So I never did anything with it. And then, I met my wife. So I have this beautiful family with an amazing wife, 2 fantastic daughters. So the idea of me getting my homely face punched in even more, it's not ideal for me. So the idea of going into MMA and practicing MMA in general wasn't going to be it just wasn't on the top of my list. That's where jiu-jitsu came in. So I could still learn a martial art, compete in something that wouldn't rock my brain and, make me forget most of my childhood. So that would be nice. I bounced the idea around for years, but I just never pulled the trigger on it until my barber, shout out to you, John, mentioned that the 10th Planet gym that was close to me had morning classes that would not affect my life. And after a long discussion with my wife, it wouldn't affect our lives in general, right? Because the 6 a.m. class doesn't interfere with work, doesn't interfere with her schedule or the kid's schedule. So there are no more excuses for me. So it's time to sign up. And that's exactly what I did in February of 2023, right? I went to a couple open mats in January, but I never really seriously started training until February. So it's been about a year for me. Well, I'll just call it a year. All right, so let's get into the sets of the 5 things that the 5 biggest takeaways, the 5 biggest things that I've taken away. What were my expectations going in? Well, I didn't expect to do well. I knew that just watching a lot of MMA would not prepare me for the physical learning that I would need to do and the physical learning that was going to take place. I knew that just watching something and not doing it in a sport where you need to be physical isn't going to get you all the way. I didn't realize how tired I was going to get in a 5-minute round. I knew that grappling was exhausting, but I figured that some of my cardio would have done something to help me. Turns out it didn't. That being said, I did change my workout routine, and it probably didn't help that I was lifting more right before I started jiu-jitsu. I started powerlifting a little bit more, put on a little bit of size, and those things don't necessarily translate to a grappling art all the time, especially when it's dedicated lifts, your bench, your deadlift, your squat. So that doesn't exactly translate over. General strength does translate, and I know that it can help, but if you're dedicated to being the best at those 3 lifts, you're not going to be great at most other things. And I also thought my knowledge of certain basic positions would help me learn. And to a point, it kind of has. It's allowed me to pick up on things faster than someone with zero experience or zero knowledge. But I'm nowhere near where like a wrestler or a formal martial artist would be, right? Like if you come from, so I don't have a wrestling background, never wrestled a day in my life. And if you wrestled in middle school, high school, college, that kind of thing, you are going to be light years ahead of where I started. You are going to be you're going to pick up on things so much faster than I have. You are going to be familiar physically with the positions that you're going to be in a lot with jiu-jitsu. So you're going to be so much further ahead than I am right now. But the thing is, like, if you do have a little bit of, like, if you have some athletic ability and general control of your body through physical space, it will help you a lot. And then being diligent and like willing to learn helps a lot too. That's something that I've noticed. One of the things that I knew going in was I was going to want to compete at some point. And I had set a goal for myself. Otherwise, so one of the things about me is that if I set a goal and I tell people about it, it helps keep me honest and it helps force me to want to do that thing, right? To hold myself accountable because I'm telling everybody I'm going to do something. So it forces me to do it more. So I set a goal for myself to compete at like 4 months. 4 months in, there was a competition around here. It stopped me from going, like it helped me to stop going through the motions, and it helped me to like I said, work directly towards something. So it's like totally personal to me. I don't think everybody has to do this, but knowing that if I just say, oh, I'm just going to go to practice and then, oh, maybe sometime I'll compete, it's just a pitfall that I just don't want to get myself back into. And then speaking about that tournament I competed in, I was awful. I'm kind of embarrassed by the way I performed in it. I felt like I was letting like my coaches, my family, and my friends down, which seems ridiculous now because I mean I'm only like 5 or 6 months removed from that experience, but like I was telling everybody like, oh, I'm gonna do this, and I got the jiu-jitsu bug, so I'm telling everybody that I do it all the time, just like anything else. It's like becoming a vegan. Everybody's gonna know that you're a vegan. Everybody knows you do CrossFit. It's the same thing with jiu-jitsu. So for me, I was like super excited about it, and then when everybody when my friend came and my family was watching me, my brother was there watching me, I just felt like I let everybody down. I'm like, this is so shitty. Like, this is not, like, I should be doing so much better. I had this huge adrenaline dump. Exhaustion hit me. I just didn't move correctly. Like, immediately after I would move to position, I knew that I was doing something wrong. I wasn't aggressive in the stand-up at all. And, like, I went 1-3. Like, I just felt like an absolute goober. The kid that I did beat, like, he was better than I was. And I felt horrible that I won instead of him because he was better than me. I got lucky with like 15 seconds left and managed to take his back. So it was literally just an exhaustion thing. We both were exhausted, and I just happened to move the correct way and got him down. So it was really garbage. But that experience, I'm glad I did it when I did, and I'm glad that I said that I was going to do it. But it taught me not to take any of my training for granted. Like any time that I have for training, don't take it for granted. Don't take it easy in training. That's like it taught me a lot of what I actually need to work on. It's not that like positionally or conceptually I'm excellent in any means or by any means, but the transition from rolling around in class and positional sparring and positional drilling to an actual competition, even in open mats, going with like friendly free rolling, there's this jump that I haven't experienced in a long time. Like I haven't competed in anything in a really long time. So that adrenaline dump was real, and I just felt like I had nothing in me. So getting comfortable in the positions and feeling like I've actually put in the correct amount of work, knowing what I need to do, putting together an actual game plan before I compete again, that's something that I really did take away from that. All right, that's number one. Number two, this video is going to be a little bit longer, but like I said, if you're only interested in some things, go ahead and skip to them. Number two, the community. Mostly positive, right? Most of the people that I have met have been helpful. Like I said, positive people. It doesn't mean that I haven't met some stinkers or that there aren't people who are having a bad day and it kind of ruins your day. Not that at all. Of course, you're going to have that in any endeavor, whether it's work or a family gathering, a party that you go to. It doesn't matter. You're going out for a day of golf. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You might meet someone who's having a bad day. You might meet someone who's kind of just a dirtbag in general. And that's just the way it's going to be. But for the most part, I have noticed, especially at the gym that I go to, right? The gym that I go to, like, I don't think I have met a single person who goes to our gym who is out and out just like an unpleasant person to be around. There are definitely people that like I don't mesh with, and it's not that like we don't get along. It's that we just don't click. Like, we're not going to be best friends. That's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to be best friends with every person you meet. But even those people, all of them are willing to be helpful, especially the higher belts, or people with more experience than me, which is most people. They've been super helpful, willing to take the time to walk me through positions, teach me things in class. It's been fantastic. And this could also fall into expectations, but I put it in community here. But I think it's worth talking about separately. I thought I would be an outsider, because when I went the first couple times I went to open mats, I feel like I don't fit in. Everybody kind of knows each other, and it's going to be like that no matter where you go. Like, there's going to be a community, and like when you're introducing yourself to them, everybody's going to kind of look at you like you're the person who doesn't fit in, because you don't know everybody there. And then to this day, like, I don't feel like I've earned my way into the inner circle by any means or anything like that. Not that I'm trying to do that. Like, that was never a goal. I'm not trying to put myself in the good graces of all of like the experienced people at the gym. Like, that's not what I want to do. But you can kind of feel as you are slowly accepted at the gym, like, people realize that you're going to be there for a while. I just don't feel like I have learned or experienced enough to probably communicate with the veterans of the sport. So they can tell, not war stories necessarily, because it's not all just about competition, but there's a language, and it's not just positional language. It's the language that you pick up during practice, and there are certain things that you say, cues that you pick up on, and ways people move when they're talking. Like, there's something that I just don't have yet. It's just not the experience. Like, I just don't have the experience to do that. That all being said, if I've ever had a question or a concern, it's always met with an open mind, a thoughtful response. And 10th Planet is where I train. We have visitors from other gyms all the time, and like, they've been just as helpful for the most part. I've met professional fighters, national champion wrestlers, like legends in jiu-jitsu, lawyers, doctors, students, business owners, IT managers, engineers, teachers, everyone. Like, I've met people from all different walks of life. Like, it's a great way to meet people in general. If you're interested in this, right? I'm not saying if you're not interested in jiu-jitsu, that if you want to get to know people, you should jump onto go to open mats. Don't do that. You're just not going to have a good time. Not necessarily. Maybe you're into that kind of thing, just throwing yourself into something that you maybe don't necessarily want to do. What I'm saying is, like, if your goal is just to meet people, there's other ways to do it. What I'm saying is that if you like this kind of thing, and if you're interested in it, you're going to meet people from all walks of life, especially if you're open. It's going to be so cool. And then from what I can tell, most of the people are gentle and kind assassins. That's really what it is. Your experience may vary. For sure, the veteran sport, but the veterans of the sport have been like really welcoming, and really kind as they rip your legs off and strangle you. Like, there's some people, and this is not a negative or a downside at all. There are some people where if you had just rolled with them and you don't know them at all, you've never talked to them outside, you'd be like, wow, this guy's an asshole. Or, wow, this guy's, like, he has no, it's not no emotion, but he has no, like, empathy. Like, oh, I'm a new guy. How come he's not taking it easy on me? This guy's a jerk. That's not the case. There's some people with the way that they roll, they will put a pressure on you where it feels like you are drowning. I know that analogy has been used before, but that's what it feels like. You're out of breath. You're exhausted. Your body can't move. It feels like you're drowning. And the whole time, they might just be taking it easy. But they're doing things proper. They're not being a jerk. They're not bullying you. They're literally just putting themselves through the paces. And like I said, they might be taking it easy. It's just, that's what this feels like. And you have to learn your way through that. And then, like, if you do talk to these people, you find out, like, oh, this guy's really nice. He's just really likes strangling people. Oh, man. All right. Something that's not so fun. Number 3, injuries. Injuries. Nagging versus serious ones. So since I started, I've dealt with a myriad of injuries, ranging from my sore ribs, when someone's knee cutting, someone landing on you, when someone passes your guard and smashes their hips into your side, not being able to move my neck, my neck being stiff from getting stuck in guillotine, some weird cranks, being stuck in weird positions, not knowing how to roll the right way. I can't tell you how many times I have woken up the day after a hard rolling and felt like I was made out of a block of wood, just stiff and sore, can't move. I mean, there have been things that I've learned that help that stuff. I think I have jammed every one of my fingers, every one, including my thumb, which I didn't know was possible before. I didn't know you could jam your thumb. Like I played basketball so much growing up. I played every day after school. I played all the time. I did a ton of things. I played football. I've jammed almost every finger at any given time, but I've never jammed my thumb. Found out you can jam your thumb, so that was fun. But so I know that now. And oh yeah, I was always wondering like that weird like thumb brace that people wear, and I was wondering why they wore that. Now I know it's from that. I've ripped my big toenail off. That one hurt so bad. And I've ripped it off more than once. So for a while there, I just wrapped both of my big toes before every practice. I was probably being overcautious, but it hurt so bad. I just took and it took forever to regrow that I just didn't want to run that risk again. My face gets scratched up pretty good. Here's the thing. I generally try to find a nice way to tell people to cut their nails. Or I'll bring it up when we're going, like I'll feel their hand when it digs into mine, when they grab a wrist or something. And if I feel their nails dig into me, I'm like, oh man, you got some sharp nails, huh? You know what I mean? Like make a little bit of a joke out of it, because they might not know. They might have forgot. They might not realize how sharp they are. They might not know that whatever. So I don't think they're doing it on purpose, but I've had some gouges taken out of my face. I've had some, scratches all over my body. I come home, my wife's got questions for me that I don't have answers for. Like, why is the back of your leg scratched? I'd love to have a good reason for you. My shoulders have always been an issue. I have started fixing them recently, but they've always been issues. My elbows have always had tendonitis. So I've had those flare back up and have learned to reduce my workload or change my workload outside of the jiu-jitsu gym. So like when I go to lift, it doesn't exacerbate the issues. My knees have been okay for the most part, but I did recently feel some. I did something to my MCL. So that's been sore. Back training. I'm being cautious with it. I'm working in only certain positions, but I have injured my knees. And like I said, I've had to adjust my workout schedule to focus less on isolating a couple muscles per day. A more like traditional training split, and I've moved it to like a full body schedule that allows me to get a decent amount of work in across my whole body. Compound lifts. And because I found that if I focus on a certain muscle group, what would happen is the joint and the tendon around that muscle group for the next day would be so sore, it would just cause issues after I grappled. So it wasn't worth it. And so what I've done is try to think about lifting as building a base for jiu-jitsu, because I've already, I'm plenty strong for jiu-jitsu, so that's not the problem. It's not wanting to lose my strength is the issue, and I find it hard to let go. So I think I'm probably still overworking myself in the gym, but it's gotten better lately. That's it for that one. Let's move to time commitment. All right, time commitment. I knew I would get obsessed with this like I do with everything. I just knew it was going to happen. I started with a couple open mats, found out that it might not be ideal for an intro into the sport, but for me it worked, right? So like I said, before I went to classes, I went to open mats. I went to three open mats. So I didn't really learn much, but I got the feel for what everybody does. Morning classes, like I said, were something that my wife and I talked about and agreed it would be ideal for our situation. So now I go 3 times a week. I try to make it to open mats at least twice a month. But lately, there's for a while there, it wasn't at all. I wasn't going at all because it was messing with my training. But I found that if I go to open mats on a Saturday, I'm ready for training on Monday. So the Sunday open mats tend to be harder for my body, especially because I train in the morning. It doesn't feel like enough recovery time. A lot of other people, it becomes all that I think about, all that I talk about. That's kind of gone away. Because for a while there, I wanted to smack myself after every conversation I would have with somebody. I'd walk up with somebody, hey, how was your weekend? Oh yeah, I was rolling with like, they're not even talking to me yet, and I'm already blabbering about like what I did in training or some stupid move that I tried. Like, it doesn't matter. They don't care about this stuff. Shut up, stop talking is what I would tell myself afterwards. Because like, and then now it's going to become like a regular part of my life. So I'm less open about it with everybody. If somebody like asks me questions, for sure I'll answer, and then we'll get into the same thing. But I don't just blabber about it to everybody. I wrote down here in my notes, like, I'm no longer like a vegan. A little bit, but right. Like I said, like if you become anything, it's one of the things where like, it's all you want to talk about. It's all you want to like express to everybody. So, but like I said, though, if boy help me, if somebody mentions grappling, MMA, or jiu-jitsu, it's on. We are talking about it for the next 30 minutes. So luckily I have a job that is flexible most of the time, which allows me to train more than some other people, and I'm really grateful for that. So if you have a very strict schedule, like looking for a gym that fits your schedule is really important. It might not be this gym has the best trainers, or this gym has the best classes, or this gym has the best system for me. It might literally be this gym has the best schedule for me. And I know it might not be ideal as far as like you're maximizing your grappling potential, but it's gonna keep you more consistent, because that's what I found is that there's a lot of people who their schedule is all over the place, and they're not consistent with grappling. And then that's the other thing is like, my family and friends have been super supportive, so I've committed a lot of time to this, and like I couldn't do this without like the help of all of them. Like for random things, like you think of like when I did my competition, like my best friend came out there to film it for me so I could watch it back. Like I wouldn't have been able to do that myself, and like my wife like helping me like keep my diet on track when I was cutting weight. Her help, like letting me go do this stuff, like it's just like I can't explain. My daughters both like helping me train at home. My wife putting up with that stuff at home too. Like I can't thank her enough. Like the amount of times that I have just randomly gone for a Kimura grip on her, or I put a body lock on her. She says like don't jiu-jitsu me anymore, but like I so appreciate everything. It's been so nice. And I really couldn't like I don't think I'm good at all. I really don't. I don't think I'm very good at this, but I wouldn't be as not crappy as I am without the help of everybody. And the last takeaway, future plans and goals, right? I would love for this to be a lifelong pursuit, and I'm not in a rush to be the best. It's just not realistic. I realized probably like 8 or 9 years ago that I'm probably never going to be the best in the world at anything. And it sounds weird to say that, because it's like, who would expect that? But I don't know, if you were like me as a kid, whatever pursuit you took up, you thought there was something, even if it was just like a little tiny little spark of an idea. There was something in there that says like, if I do this enough, I could be the best at it. I could beat everybody. I could go pro in this. It's not that like I don't have the desire to be the best anymore, or I'm not willing to work really hard to be better at something. It's that I understand that the likelihood of that is almost zero. Right? I have set my life in such a way that's just not going to happen. And it's not like a sad thing. It's actually kind of good. It's almost freeing when you realize like I can go after something because I really want to do it and not just be the best at it. It doesn't mean I don't want to win. And it doesn't mean that I don't want to get better at it, because I'll be damned if I let people beat me in a moment where we're both being competitive. I plan on competing again, but I would like to address the issues that plagued me in my first competition. Before I do it again, I don't want the same things to happen. Like I don't want to go there and get exhausted. I don't want to go there and have brain farts. I want to have an actual game plan. The coaches, especially my morning coach, Cedric, shout outs to you, man. At 10th Planet, like honestly, like there's been great people along the way who've come in. Obviously, Omar is the owner of the gym, and he's fantastic. But he doesn't coach 6 a.m.s, and there's nothing wrong with that. He just like the owner of your gym isn't going to coach every class, especially if you have 2 gyms to take care of. So it doesn't make any sense. They can't do that. So my coach has been Cedric from the start, and he's helped me so much with my growth. So I just don't plan on changing my schedule. Like it fits everything. Like he's the perfect coach for me. It's fantastic. And I'd be lying if I said anything other than I want to be a black belt at some point. Right. To be a successful competitor. Like, of course I want to do that. But it's something that like within my abilities and my potential that like I need to do. Like I need to work on that stuff. It's not going to be given to me. You have to earn that. And it's something that with my current schedule, I know isn't going to happen anytime soon. I am in no rush to do this, but it's something that I would like eventually. So like 10, 12 years from now, like getting my black belt would be super cool. So like I'm hoping that I keep up with this, and that's like my attitude towards it now. And then eventually I'd love to teach. Like I'd love, even if it's like one class once in a while, like stepping in. I love that. Like I love helping other people, and knowing where I came from, helping other people get there faster than I did would be so freaking cool. That's it. Those are my biggest takeaways after a year of doing jiu-jitsu, right? And like like I said, it was, the expectations going in, the community that I've met since I've been here, the injuries that have come up along the way, the time commitment that I've had to put in, and the future plans that I have going forward. So this last little part here, I just want to say thank you to my family and my friends, right? They've been super supportive. Like they've been so supportive. Like you couldn't even believe it. Like my wife, like I said, allowing me to go to practice, putting moves on her, even learning to fight back, which makes positions harder. Like my wife is scrappy as shit. She's so much smaller than me, but like I'll tell you, there are certain times where I think she's not. Obviously, I'm under no delusions to think like she's stronger than some of the guys who are her size. That's not what I'm saying. But like she's stronger than I expect in certain positions. Like there's certain positions where I think like, okay, I could just hold this. I could just gift wrap this arm, and then she just yanks it out. It's crazy. And I know she hates it and tells me not to jiu-jitsu her anymore, but like I really love the fact that like I get to play around and within reason. Like I still need to dial it back. Knowing that when my competition was coming up, that mine was going to be laser focused on one thing, and she allowed me to zone out of everything else. So she allowed me to kind of, she knew that like things around the house are kind of going to fall away, and I'm going to be super focused, like razor focused on things. My girls practicing with me, keeping me company in the gym. It makes me feel like this process feel less lonely, like I'm doing it with somebody. My friends for listening to me talk about new moves I learned nonstop and not smacking me and telling me to shut up every time they see me. Because honestly, if someone came up to me and would not shut up about the shit that they were doing the way I am to them, I'd be like, man, like I get it. You're excited, but I don't fucking care. Shut up and leave me alone. My wife, my daughter, and my best friend and my brother came to watch me compete. In the case of my brother, he even coached me for one of my matches, which is fantastic. Like if I have ever taken for granted the amount of support that I have, this just illuminates everything for me. Like when you're in the middle of it, like you're the middle of your life, you're not in the middle of your life, like 40 years old. What I mean is like in the middle of your day-to-day life, you can kind of forget all the blessings that you have. Like the fact that I have a house, the fact that I have a job that allows me to do things, I have a little bit of freedom, the fact that I have a family, the fact that I have a wife that helps me do everything that I do, the fact that I have friends who are supportive, my family, like I said, my family's super supportive, the fact that like my daughters turned out the way they have mainly because of my wife being super helpful. So like one of the biggest takeaways, which seems kind of weird, of going to compete in jiu-jitsu or being competitive and like taking up grappling has been like it's shown me how lucky that I am to have the people around me that I do. Like that's one of the biggest things that I've had. So that's it. I appreciate y'all for stopping by. This is not what I normally do. If you've made it to this far in the video, subscribe to the channel. I'd appreciate it. It means a lot to me, and it'll let you know when the next video is coming out. I do not normally do this. I normally do videos on fight breakdowns. I break everything down round by round. I do all that stuff. I usually don't talk about myself too much. This is not my forte when it comes to these videos. But I appreciate y'all for stopping by. Hope you guys have an amazing week. Hope you guys had a great New Year's. Love y'all. Peace.